No, we all good? All right. So today I want to talk about creating a show, right? So you become that trusted source that people can keep, coming to, right? And when we talk about creating a show, we are referring to a YouTube show, right? Right. A video we talked about last week that you need to create video content, put it out there. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. It's owned by the largest search engine in the world, by Google. And, we want to make sure that we're putting out content that's relevant. And I know that when you're looking at social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be, there's a lot of this on social media. It's like, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this and that, which is great, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But the videos you put onto YouTube need to be more polished, right? They're not going to be those simple, quick 30-second or 1-minute posts that you do normally on Instagram or Facebook. Your videos on YouTube need to be way more professional, right? They need to be way more professional. And the key with that is having a theme. So I want you to write this down. So top of your page, write down creating your own show, right? And I'm going to give you some tactics, right? But before I get into tactics, I am a fan of R&D. R&D means rip off and duplicate, right? I am a fan of that. I'm not a fan of reinventing the wheel, right? If it's working for someone else, I will copy them without question. So I want to share a story about Tom Toole. I don't know if any of you know Tom Toole. He's a great coaching client of ours. Bill Pipes coaches Tom Toole. And Tom Toole, when he first got into coaching, right? Great producer. He was making about $200,000 a year. I don't know when he got into, I'm going to assume it's around 8-9 years ago is when he came into coaching. But right now, this year, he broke the 5 million GCI mark. That's crazy, going from 200,000 to $5 million in income, right? Now, how did he do that? Well, aside from being an amazing prospector, which he prospects every day, 2 hours, he also has put himself out there on video. He really has. So I just want to share with you who Tom Toole is. And if you're not following him on YouTube, you really should. So Tom Toole, and this is one of his videos. The show is called Tom's Take, right? Just let me give you a little snap.
We are on the front end of a market shift. I'll explain next on Tom's Take.
So this is one of his shows. Now, Tom has several shows. If you look back on his video, he has Tool Time, he has Tom's Take, and then he has Real Estate Hacks. He has several different shows that he does. Now, why did I show you Tom Toole? Because the quality of the videos he puts out there is outstanding, and it's something that we should aspire to. So let's write this down. So how do we set up a show? So number one is decide on a theme. Decide on a theme. Real important that you have an understanding of who your target audience is. The second is you need to have a name for the show. Like Tom Toole has, he's got Agent Hacks, he has Tom's Takes, and he also has another show called Tool Time, right? So have a name for the show. The next thing we need to do is actually set aside one day or 2 days a month to actually doing the filming, right, folks? You got to do the filming for this. Real important is have it in your schedule. Consistency is key when it comes to creating a show, right? We need to know that, hey, listen, every week I'm going to put this product out there. I'm going to put this content out there. So having an understanding, hey, this needs to be consistent, right? The next thing I wrote down here is you need to find someone that can both edit and produce this video, put it together for you. Now, could this be like an in-house videographer? Could this be your videographer that you use for your listings? Sure, absolutely, without question, right? Could this be you yourself that's taking up that skill set? I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you, right? I'd rather maybe be an assistant or maybe a virtual assistant that you can hire that's going to do this for you. Or perhaps it may just simply be going to upwork.com or fiverr.com and finding someone there that can, edit the video for you, create it, put it together for you, and that way it's ready for you to put out there. So we need to have someone that's going to actually do the video, right? So next we look at is what type of content should you put out there? So write down content to shoot. So we have, for example, one can be a monthly market update. And you can simply name it homes for sale in, and then put your city's name in there. That could be a show, right? Another show that you can do, number 2, would be simple interviews or sharing tips with, and then having someone with you on that show, right? It could be you're interviewing principals of schools in your marketplace. Could be you're interviewing owners of restaurants or coffee shops, or whatever it is in your marketplace. I had one lady who in her marketplace there was a lot of local breweries, so she was interviewing those microbreweries, right? Could it be an architect or even a home builder, right? Who is it in your marketplace that you can interview? Right. I'm a fan of interviewing the Parks and Rec guys, the counselor for the area, or even the mayor, if you can, right? Local politicians. Or if you want to bring some real value to these videos, maybe look at some tax expert or accountants or even mortgage brokers. Like, who can you interview? So that would be a second type of video, or maybe even a show all in its entirety would be interviewing people, right? A third can be we call it did you know show, right? And this would be something like, hey, did you know that you can buy a home for 5% down payment, or 3% down payment, or 0% down payment? Hey, did you know that rents are actually the same as buying? When you compare what you're paying for rent and what your mortgage would be, that would be did you know? Or did you know the 3 mistakes that every first-time home buyer make, right? I love those ones, right? Or hey, did you know the 7 home improvements to increase the value of your home, right? Or how about this? Did you know how to invest in real estate in your town, your state, your province, right? So the did you know would be an amazing content to shoot. That would be a show in its own, right? Another one that you may want to consider would be about your town, right? Content to shoot about your town. And this can be, the 3 best burger places to go to, or, hey, where should I get the best deal on flowers, as an example? Or, hey, have you been down these trails, these amazing parking trails that we have here, right? Or I really like is the dealing with kids, putting towards kids, right? So if you had, for example, knowing that the hockey tryouts or football tryouts or this, and you talk about the local community, right? Hey, you know what? When is the local, for example, Lions Club doing their annual, light the Christmas tree? Did you know what's happening in the community? So community events and using, hey, it's all about the town. That would be a great piece of content. And then one of my favorites is behind the scenes. Did you guys ever do that? Behind the scenes video of what's happening, right? A great example, I'm going to just give you kind of perception here. Let me just change my background a little bit. What if, think of this, you have a boardroom, you got a whiteboard behind you, you got a brand new listing, and you and your team are like, okay, guys, 103 Norman, what are we going to do? What's our strategy to sell this home, right? Who's our target audience, right? What should we be doing? We're going to send about 1,000 mailers into the neighborhood. We're going to put together this video, and you're kind of brainstorming, hey, a brand new listing that you just took on. And you and your team are videotaping this almost like a fly on the wall, right? Looking at this going, hey, we can do this for this listing, we do that for this listing. How do we get the top dollar for our clients? See, that would be a great behind the scenes video, right? Doing something like that, right? Or maybe it could just be you at a video shoot and your videographer is recording the home with you talking to the camera, and then someone in the background is recording that, right? Or it could be maybe how do you set up an open house? So behind the scenes are powerful videos that people love to watch, right? Next piece of content that you may want to consider would be simple neighborhood tours, right? Just going through the neighborhood, talking about the neighborhood, talking about the area. Some of us live in these amazing kind of old Renaissance type of neighborhoods, and it's like talking about the community, talking about that area. Some of it's more like, hey, this is brand new, a new development. This is what's happening in the neighborhood. So looking at neighborhood tours as a possible content. And the last one I have here is when it comes to creating a show is be you. Show them the authentic you, you know, videos with even you at, you know, being a goofball, to be honest with you, you and the family, you and the team, just be the authentic you. We've had some amazing videos where it wasn't any of those pieces of content that I just shared with you. It was just the client, the agent being themselves, being a goofball, making mistakes, right? People love that. So be the authentic you, because at the end of the day, the more you project you, who you are, the person you are, that's you attracting your own tribe, right? If you're looking at, hey, I want to work with people who I enjoy working with. Well, to be honest with you, you want to work with people who are more like you. So be you. Don't be afraid to be authentic. Don't be that stiff person. I can do 50 takes. Don't do that. Take one take and go with it, baby. Right? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be you. Be you. That's what we want. So being the authentic you will attract more people like you, right? And you're going to be finding your tribe, as Tom talks about it. All right. So next part of this, I'm going to go real quick with this, is how do we multi-purpose each show? Right, real important. So now we have the name of the show. We know what we're producing. We know what we're putting together. We get the content that we're looking for. We know that the focus is going to be on that show. But how do we then repurpose this? Right. So number one, I wrote down, is by transcribing it and then putting that as a blog on your website, posting it on your website as a blog, posting it on your Google My Business page. So by transcribing it, now you have it in words, use a picture from the video, and here you have now a piece of content that you can email your clients, right? Number two is rip the audio only, not the video, just the audio, and then use it as a podcast. Right? There's so many different podcast sites that you can go to that it doesn't cost you anything. You just upload and you have now a show that's a podcast, right? That would be number two. Number three would be to take the entire video and then cut out maybe 2 or 3 clips, you know, maybe a minute and a half, 3, depending on how long your video is. You got kind of a minute and a half, 2-minute clips, and then you could use that on your other social media platforms, right? 30-second clip, minute and a half clip, whatever it is. But now you can repurpose and put content now on your, let's say, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it may be. So you're repurposing that one show, okay? Next, what you can do, number 4, is create what we call quote cards from the show. Have you guys ever seen quote cards? You know what a quote card is, right? Let me share with you what it looks like. So this is a quote card, and you see it all the time from Tom Ferry's show, right? You know, whatever quote that came out of the video, he would create that, and this becomes a piece of content that you can now put on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be. So creating a quote card out of that video, right? I think that's it. That's all I got for repurposing the content. So those 4 things. So we're looking at transcribing it to create a blog or post. Number 2 is using the audio for a podcast. Number 3 is cut out some smaller sections, smaller clips, and repurposing that on your different social media channels. And then the last one is creating some quote cards. So again, creating content. Now, at the end of the day, right, it's all about consistency, creating a show. And what I would say is this: whatever that show is, make sure it resonates with you. Make sure it resonates with you. Make sure it's something that makes sense to you, right? It could be you like to give people advice and you like to share your insight. And I love that. I think, here is my take of what is happening in the real estate market. We all have this is our platform, right? And again, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you're going to attract people who just like you, and we all make mistakes, and it's all good with that, right? So be you, be the authentic you, and make sure that whatever you put out there makes sense to you. It resonates with you. Don't try and put it out there because your coach is telling you have to do that, because you don't have to do it. You really don't have to do it. You do what you want, right, folks? Any questions, concerns, hallucinations? No? I'm so excited. It's Monday, baby. It's Monday. It's a money-making day. Yes, sir, it is. All right, please unmute yourselves. Please unmute yourselves. All right, loud and proud, folks. What day is today?
Money-making day.
That's right. It's a money-making day. So what do you need to do in your business right now that if you do it, it will help you move the needle? You guys are awesome. I'll talk to all of you tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you.